Okay, since we are getting closer to the end of the book, what you're going to see over the next few chapters is that they are going to be a little bit shorter and a little bit choppier than previous chapters. And the reason for that is we're getting closer to the climax, that point of the story where things are at their most exciting. And so the authors are trying to set it up by bouncing from scene to scene to scene so that all the pieces are in place for the exciting ending. So if you notice that chapters are a little bit shorter, that's going to be why. Chapter 55 is called The White Starfish. "We shouldn't be doing this," whispered little Scallop. "Shh," hissed Shining Pearl, momentarily silencing her little sister. The two girls, having slipped out of their sleeping hut, were creeping along a moonlit path leading away from the mollusk village. After a few steps, little Scallop said, "But Father says—" "I know what Father says," said Shining Pearl. Their father, Fighting Prawn, the mollusk chief, had told the girls more than once that they were never to leave the village alone at night. But that rule was from before, when there were pirates here. Now the pirates are gone, so there's nothing to worry about. "It's still a rule," said little Scallop. "Yeah, but this is a special situation. We need to surprise Father for his birthday. How can we do that if he knows what we're doing? And we're only going to be gone a little while, and the boys will be with us." "I don't see what's so special about a smelly starfish anyway. Why couldn't we just have made him a conch necklace?" "Because we've made him necklaces for the last I don't know how many birthdays, and it's not just a starfish, it's a white starfish, and those are good luck." "What if it isn't a white starfish?" "It is, and I know exactly where I saw it." "Why didn't you get it then?" Shining Pearl rolled her eyes. "I told you I couldn't get to it when the tide was high, but now the tide's low, so it's going to be easy. Just wait. Tomorrow morning we're going to give it to Father, and he's going to be so happy he's going to give us one of those hugs where you feel like you can't breathe." Little Scallop smiled. She loved those hugs. But her frown returned as she said, "But what if we get caught?" "We won't if you be quiet. Now, look for the boys. They were supposed to—" "There," said little Scallop, pointing ahead on the path. By the moonlight, Shining Pearl saw a face peering around the side of a large rock. And as she came closer, she saw it was Nibs. He stepped onto the path, followed by the rest of the lost boys, Curly, Toodles, Slightly, and the twins. "Are you sure you want to do this?" said Nibs. "Of course," said Shining Pearl. "Why wouldn't we?" "Look up at the sky," said Nibs. Shining Pearl looked up and saw a third of the stars had been blotted out by a vast, low cloud bank, which at the moment was creeping toward the island, covering more and more of the night sky. "It's gonna rain," said Nibs. "A lot," said Slightly. We should go back," said little Scallop. "Not without the starfish," said Shining Pearl. "Who cares if we get a little wet?" Without waiting for an answer, she set off down the path. The others followed with various levels of enthusiasm. Shining Pearl led them to the water trail, which ran along the coast all the way around the island, winding its way past lookout points, beaches, and tidal pools. It was one of the island's most used trails, so it was well worn. The children made good progress, and soon they were a good distance from the mollusk village. As they walked, Nibs kept glancing at the sky, watching the cloud mass draw even closer. Gusts of wind had started reaching the island, causing the trees in the dark jungle to thrash about. The wind carried a few drops of rain. "Are you really sure you want to do this tonight?" said Nibs. "Yeah," said Shining Pearl. "Tomorrow's Father's birthday, and I want to give him that starfish." "But why do you need all 8 of us for one starfish?" said Nibs. Shining Pearl tried to think of something to say. "It's because she's scared," said Slightly. "I am not." "Can't blame her," said Slightly. "The pirates made this part of the island scary for all of us. It's been out of bounds the whole time we've lived here. I wanted to come here and come along just so I could see stuff I hadn't seen before." "You can't see much in the dark," said one of the twins. "Here we are," said a relieved Shining Pearl. She ran down to the water where a semicircle of rocks had created a tidal pool, protected from the increasing rough sea. Little Scallop joined her, as did the twins, and the rest of the boys stayed back at the edge of the jungle where the tree canopy protected them from the ever more persistent rain. "All this for a starfish," said Slightly. Nibs, Curly, and Toodles, eyeing the deteriorating weather, muttered in agreement. "I'm going up there, where it's drier," said Toodles. He started to make his way deeper into the jungle. "Ow!" he cried. "What?" said Slightly. "There's something here," said Toodles, and he started pulling a pile of leaves and branches, revealing a boat. The others ran over and stared. "What's a boat doing here?" "Those leaves were meant to hide it. They were cut recently. They aren't even brown." shipwrecked, said Curly. It's the shipwrecked sailors. Then why hide the boat? They'd want to help us, wouldn't they? Maybe they want to hide until they see what else is on the island, to make sure they're friendly. Or maybe they're not shipwrecked, said Slightly. Then who are they, said Curly. I don't know, but we should go tell Fighting Prawn. No, said Shining Pearl. She'd come up behind them with Little Scallop and the twins. She had a wet clump of seaweed which was wrapped around the prized white starfish. If we tell Father, he'll know we broke the rule. We're not even supposed to be here. The boys considered that. They weren't supposed to be here either. But we have to tell somebody. We can't just ignore the boat. It began raining harder. The wind was bringing even bigger waves roaring as they pounded to shore. A bolt of lightning lit the jungle nearby, followed by an almost immediately deafening crash of thunder. I wish I never came here, said Little Scallop, speaking for everybody. I have an idea. We'll go back home tonight. Tomorrow we'll come back here and pretend we discovered the boat. Then we can tell Fighting Prawn. I don't know, said Slightly. What if whoever brought this boat... Whoever it is can't do anything tonight, said Nibs. Not with the storm coming. All right, said Shining Pearl. We'll go back now, then come out here tomorrow morning first thing. They started back the other way, but stopped after a few dozen yards. Directly ahead, a huge wave crashed over the trail, followed by another and another. The vicious surge slamming into a mountain cliff, too steep for the children to climb around. The children waited for an opening, but the massive waves kept thundering. Finally, Slightly stated the obvious. We're not going to be able to get through this way. We'll have to take the mountain trail, said Shining Pearl. In this weather? It's our only way back. She knew the island better than the others. She turned back on the water trail, which meant the mountain trail farther down the coast, past where they discovered the boat. Come on, she urged. The rest started after her, except for Curly, who hung back. What about the boars? He said. The others stopped. They'd forgotten about the boars. They come out at night, you know, said Curly. That's when they hunt. And that's when they get hunted, said Slightly. Everyone knew what he was talking about, and a shudder passed through them all. For a few seconds, the group stood in silence. Then Shining Pearl said, We can't stay here. We have to get back. She's right, said Nibs. We'll stick together and listen sharp. If anyone hears anything, give a shout up a tree as fast as you can. He and Shining Pearl started walking, following by the others. Curly was last in line. He was still unhappy about taking the mountain trail, but he definitely did not want to be left alone. Not on a night like this. Chapter 56 is called A Flash of Lightning, and before we start that, two things to keep in mind. Number one, when they were talking about what hunts the boars, you should hopefully know that famous creature that likes to hunt the boars, Mr. Grin. And then, of course, the second thing is with thunder and lightning, the closer that you hear the lightning, that you hear the thunder to the lightning, the closer the storm is upon you. So if you see a flash of lightning and then it's a couple seconds pass and you hear thunder, you can measure how far away a storm is because of the way that sound and light travel at different speeds. It's kind of an interesting thing. So the closer they are together, the closer the storm is to you. So speaking of lightning, this is called The Flash of Lightning, and it's less than 2 pages long. Just down the water trail where it converged with the mountain trail, Cheeky O'Neill, Frederick DeWolf, and Rufus Kelly were crouched behind a pile of huge rocks. They'd been there for hours listening to the thundering sound of the big waves crashing on the reef. I don't see how they can land a boat in this, said DeWolf. They're not going to get past the reef. You don't know Nereza like I do, said O'Neill. Of all the nights to get a storm, said Kelly. It actually works in our favor, said O'Neill. There's no way the mollusks will see them coming in this. McPherson's been on watch long enough. Go relieve him. Hasn't even been an hour, said DeWolf. O'Neill leaned his huge frame close to DeWolf. I said go. All right, said DeWolf, but I don't see... They're coming. I saw them now, just in a flash of lightning, riding a wave over the reef. Looks like they're struggling. O'Neill jumped to his feet, ran around the rock, followed by the others, and in a moment they were on the beach. The surf was surging to their knees, their waists almost knocking them over. They peered into the rain again, and there was a flash of lightning. There, said McPherson, pointing. The others saw the boat then, sliding down the face of a huge storm. The lightning was gone, and the boat disappeared. This way, shouted O'Neill, running toward the area. Another flash, and he picked it up again. They were riding the last push of the wave, surging onto shore, spinning sideways, but still upright. And as he sprinted toward it, O'Neill smiled grimly. He had been right. Nereza had made it. So at least on the island, we have a setup where Nereza's back, the sailors are back, there's a bad storm, and the Mollusks don't know that they're coming, and the children are trying to get home through this terrible storm, through some dangerous land areas. So the setup's pretty good on Mollusk Island, and we'll see what the setup is back in London on our next read aloud.